Your phone. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to hit you. Hi. Can you all hear me? Hey, can't hear anyone else now.
Hi, girls.
Hey, ladies.
I am coughing up a storm, so I'm going to be muted.
Oh, yeah, no worries. Hello. Jackie, I love your background. Is that like a real picture?
I just like purple. Look for picture with purple flowers in.
Oh, with purple. Oh, it's like it's lavender.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
I
fun.
love that. Yeah.
Hi,
Hi, Lori. Is this
I'm
your first
new.
call?
It is, and but I have a local meetup I have to leave for in a few minutes, and so I'm gonna listen as long as I can, and then
Yeah.
next one I am not missing.
No worries. And if you have to put us on your
I will have to,
car,
yeah, I will.
I'm
I'll do
sure
that too.
Crystal's probably in her car.
But I wanted to say
Um,
hi and just say I'm here and
yeah,
listening, and I'm
welcome.
excited, and I will definitely be the whole time at the next one.
Yeah. Now remind us where you are.
So I'm in DFW
Okay. Where are you?
in Grapevine.
In Grapevine. Yeah. My little brother went to South Lake to Carroll High
Okay.
School.
Yeah, so I
Um,
I raised my kids for 20 years in South Lake, and then when I got divorced, I'm now in Grapevine.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's what's funny is like we always thought my brother would go to Jesuit. I went to Ursuline, and then my
Uh-huh.
parents went through this terrible, messy divorce. So, my dad told my mom he wasn't going to pay for it, anyways.
That
And
happens.
so she moved to Grapevine, but they were in like a small pocket of Grapevine where it was South Lake Carroll School.
And that's where I rent too. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
that's crazy. We'll have to totally talk about that
Yeah,
offline.
yeah.
Yeah, I was in Dallas most of last week. I got there last Tuesday and came back to Austin yesterday. So
Okay, so
welcome.
I missed your whole, are you in Austin just y'all are there a lot? So is that you live half and half, or is it business stuff or pleasure or both or
Yeah, we're trying to figure that out. That's like the question of the century. If we could figure that out, it'd be worth like a lot of money to us to figure out. I heard somebody say that they are location independent. So Sarah
I
Weaver,
love that.
yeah, so Sarah Weaver, who is a midterm and short-term expert, she does a lot with Bigger Pockets. She says that she is location independent. So all of our stuff is
Fantastic.
in Dallas, and we are in a midterm rental in downtown Austin, but we
Gotcha.
don't know if we're going to go back to Dallas or we're going to stay in Austin or we're going to go totally somewhere else.
Love that. I have a kiddo at
Yeah.
UT, so I'm there
Oh, yeah.
several times a year. So
Well, we are down the street, literally.
cool.
Well,
Very cool.
welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, yeah. Happy Monday, ladies. Yeah, Crystal, you're in the car. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. We also want to update Crystal on what's been happening, on how your meeting went last week. I will tell you that that as far as my energy on a one scale of 1 to 10, I'm probably coming in at like a 4 or a 5. My heart's been doing all kinds of funky stuff today, and I know it's just my thyroid going crazy. But yeah, I'm like not at a 10. So, but I want to hear from you on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being not at all. I'm here, but like, ugh, I've had a blah day, to 10. I am fired up. I've had a great day and I'm bringing all the energy into this call. Just drop where you are. 5, 6, 4. Oh gosh. Carrie Ann looks like she's doing great. Kimmy says 4.5. Kimmy, I might need to know why the half, because that just makes me happy. Carrie Ann says 10. Oh my gosh, did you like close the deal? Did you get like a big fat check?
Oh my
Something.
gosh. Okay. So, I mean, good things. It's the scary things, right?
Yeah.
Like scary things are happening, but they're scary, super cool things. So I don't know, is Tamar on? Is Tamar on tonight?
I don't
So
think so.
I
haven't seen her
am,
in a couple of weeks.
so I am partnering with Tamar's husband, Matt, buying
Yeah.
a 23 unit multifamily. And I was just gonna capital raise and get like, 15% equity. And he's like, why don't you just be my partner?
Yeah.
And so we're doing that. And then I was talking to the wholesaler and he's like, oh, by the way, the seller has a good friend who owns basically the rest of the rentals in this town. Do you want to buy his too?
Nice.
And so I'm like, I guess.
Are they single family?
No, there's
Okay.
6 separate, this one is 6 separate buildings, but there's 24 units in between the 6.
Okay.
And the friend who the seller's like, he wants to sell to, and they're both at like, mid to late 50s and they're having grandkids. So they want to be passive.
Yeah.
So his friend has another 29 to 30 units in like 6 buildings. So between the two of them, they own the rental market in this small town in Maine. So we could kind of have our own little monopoly. And so, but it's like, I did not realize this was going to be happening this fast. It's a lot. And I'm in talking with this really cool guy that Amy Majuri referred me to, who does all this land flipping. And he's like, yeah, I'm doing like 10 million a year, and will you capital raise for me? And so it's good. It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm getting my CRM turned all over and organized,
You get
which I
home?
hate that, but I'll do it.
Yeah.
I
That's so awesome, lady.
just want a minion to do my CRM.
Yeah.
Who
Well,
wants to
let's
be my
find you that.
minion?
Let's find you an awesome,
I need a minion.
organized.
So that, and yeah, kids, all the stuff. Oh, and then I'm going to fly up to Maine with Matt, and we're going to record all this content. And I had someone who's in the community who's like, hey, I have 500K to deploy. I've got to get it done for tax reasons. And I'm like, oh, we're going to need 500K for this multifamily because we're also going to have to rehab it.
Yeah.
So we're going to go up to Maine in a few weeks and I'm going to go from I own no properties and am not really interested in multifamily to by the end of the year, we'll own like 60 units.
Lady, I'm so excited for you. That is awesome.
It's exciting. It's so much.
It is.
That's
Well, and
that is awesome. Super excited.
Thank you.
yeah, like I talked to you for an hour on Thursday or Wednesday. I feel like this is all new. I'm like, what?
It keeps building, like keep things where it's like, oh, and then this. Oh, and then this. And so, yeah.
Well, and this is a really great opportunity to just point out for a minute that you've been taking lots of little steps. You've been networking your hiney off. You've been putting yourself out there. You've been trying really hard things that, a year ago were new to you, things that some people might have even told you like, hey, you might be over your skis. You might be going too fast. You might be, doing too much. And you were just like, yeah, I got a family to support. So back away. But so I just want to applaud in you that you're taking action even when you didn't see where it was taking you to is working. And 2, it is also really crazy when you kind of find the right people to do this with, how fast you really can move.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean it's not scary. Like I had a moment today where my husband's sitting across from me and he's like, are you okay? You're zoning out. And I'm like, I'm not sure what people are seeing in me to do, like, I think I'm good at this, but I also have people who have known me for 20 years who are like, yeah, what if you fail? And so even though it's exciting and there's big things, that doesn't mean that there's not points where I'm like, oh my gosh, can I do this? Or am I out over my skis? Am I out, am I up in the night? What if it all implodes? Like, even when it's right, even when you find the people, it doesn't mean that you are like, I got this. Like, it is, new things are scary, and a bunch of new things all at once.
Yeah.
It's a lot, it's exciting, but it is not easy.
I have so many thoughts, and let me just start by saying this. Today's not organized. We don't have a speaker. We're getting speakers for future. There are several of you that I've talked to, and you're like, I want to help. And I'm like, yes. And then I've dropped the ball. Know that I'm picking all of those balls up this week. The last few have been a little insane for me. And this is part of the reason why I need you, is that I'm very good at getting things started. And then I go so fast on the next thing. So let me just say that. Number two, my goal tonight is for us to just have an organic conversation. So Carrie Ann and Sandra and I were on a text thread earlier because I was like, oh gosh, I have nothing planned for tonight. And we came up with a couple of ideas. And one of the ideas was like, let's just talk about these roadblocks. Let's talk about where we're getting stopped. Let's talk about, where are maybe you getting stuck? Where are you having a hard time? So that is what we're going to do. But I want to say, Carrie Ann, like, we didn't even plan this, even though we talked. I love that you're opening with this. Like, yes, great things are happening, but I'm still nervous and I'm going forward, even though I'm scared. And one of the things that I experienced last week while I was in Dallas is similar to what you just said, which was, I have people on this new team that I've joined who think that I'm amazing and wonderful and like that I'm going to kill it. And then I go home and I tell my best friends at lunch on Thursday, and they look at me like I have like dog poo smeared all over my face, because they're like, A, what are you talking about? B, how do you think you can do this? Right. So, one place that we could talk about is anyone else experiencing that? Or are there other places that you're getting stuck? But Carrie Ann, I just want you to talk a little bit more about, like, as you are feeling these feelings, as you're like, whatever, maybe it's a feeling, maybe it's thoughts that you're having, how are you continuing to go forward? And then Sandra, I want you to just talk a little bit about, because this is a safe space and we are seeing each other in a different way than like your homegirls who've known you for 30 years or 20 years or 10 years are seeing you. And so I know you something in the chat, Sandra, but I would love for you to say, after Carrie Ann goes, like, what is it that you're seeing in her? Because we're seeing it. So maybe one of the reasons why we're supposed to be here tonight is for any of us who are doubting to be like, oh, this is the place we come to when we're doubting, because this is actually the safe space to doubt in. So Carrie Ann, go ahead. I'm going to mute myself for a bit.
I think there's a lot to be said, number one, for relationships and getting outside yourself, because that's where I get stuck. I get stuck in the voice in the head, right? We all get stuck with the voice in our head. That's whether it's our friends from long ago, it's our parents, it's siblings, it's people who have known us and they've defined what we are. You are this because I told you you were this. Like, I grew up being like, I'm a quitter. I'm all these things. And then when everything kind of shifted last year and we moved and, my husband left his business and career when he got sick and I started doing this, it was like, I'm not going. That's not who I am. And that's never who I was. but they told me that's who I was because they looked for what they wanted to kind of bolster up their opinion. Oh, well, Carrie Ann's a quitter. She's quit 2 times. And it's like, yeah, but I'm 25. If I quit, then I'm not a quitter. I've quit twice. And you know, if you go, like you could go to my parents right now and be like, is Carrie Ann a quitter? And they'd be like, dude, in 1989, when she was like 7, you would not believe it. She quit on this. But it's because they want to reinforce what they think you are, to also then reinforce the way that they may have treated you, may not have treated you. And so I got to a place where it's like, I'm going to decide who I am and I will show up as that person. And I'm not going to let the voice in my head, who I call Gina, because I've never met until recently a Gina in real life. And I used to say like, shut up, mom. And then my kids were like, why are you telling your mom to shut up in your head? So I am just like, I shut down the voice in my head, where if I'm having thoughts about myself, where it's like, you can't do this, I'll be like, oh, shut up, Gina. Because that's not who I am. I'm not that person. And I'm constantly growing and I'm constantly becoming different. And if I don't like that, I can change it. But I'm not going to let someone else tell me who I am or what I'm capable of. And if I have the women in here, people who want to partner with me, who are giving me these amazing opportunities, they're putting their money literally where their mouth is. Hey, this is a $2 million property. Do you want half? Okay. So they must be correct in some way, and maybe they're delusional, but either way, I'm going to own 23 units with them.
Yeah. Yeah. Sandra, I would love for you to jump in, and then just something based on Carrie and what she said. I'm going to circle back to it, and we're going to do like just a couple minute exercise based on what she just said.
I'll see it.
Hello. Well, congratulations, Carrie Ann. I'm so excited for you. First of all, I mean, I could say a million things about what I see about you. And you're smart, you're beautiful, you're a badass, you bring a tremendous energy, you are clear, concise, you listen, you give feedback, all of these things that are really good qualities in any sort of business engagement, you know, all of those things. But I also think like, it's funny. I don't know if we ever see ourselves the way other people do. And there isn't anybody on these calls ever that has said they want to do something where I've thought, you can't do that. Never, never. So like, we have to remember that about ourselves, right? None of you look at me and are like, you can't flip a house. No, maybe you need the right connection. Maybe you just need the right deal. Maybe you don't have the money piece. It's just, there's just pieces missing, or the path isn't revealed yet. And just like Katie said, like, you're taking these steps and you had no idea this path was coming, but you did it and it brought you here. So like, we're all capable of doing all of this. It's all those doubts, like you're saying, and that old programming. But you know, there's been people before that have said something, whatever it was, they're going through a bad relationship, and I'll say, let me ask you, like, you know, it must be because I'm like this, something negative they tell themselves. And I said, what would you say if your best friend said that to you about herself? And they would be like, I would kill my best friend if she thought that about herself. But we can't treat ourselves with this same kindness, and we can't look at ourselves in that same light of worthiness. And that's the obstacle. It's not, I didn't come up with the money, I didn't find the deal. Our obstacles are our self-limiting beliefs that we have. And that's what the beauty of being in this group, though, is like, this is where we come in and everyone says, no, you can do that. And I know somebody that can help you with this. And I know somebody that can help you with that, and all of those things. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's spot on. I think just this idea, you're totally right. And we have heard some women on these calls in our Facebook group who have had really big, lofty ambitions, huge goals. And never once have I been like, she can't do that. I'm like, sweet, look at her. Like, how do we make that happen? And I saw this for sure in the Facebook group last week with Lauren's post about everything that's going down with her house. And so many people jumped in, were like, you know, if you couldn't help, you were still like, hey, I'm thinking about you. And I have not talked to her, so I don't know where she is on that. But that's a reminder to circle back. But I would say this, let's take 2 minutes. One of the things that Carrie Ann said, and for those of you who don't know, I have been studying confidence. I've been coaching on confidence. I speak on confidence. In fact, on Friday afternoon, Marcy Thompson hosted me inside the Women in Leadership at her company and got to talk to them about confidence. And it hits me that yes, this is about confidence, but sometimes it's about reminding ourselves what is possible. And one of the things, and maybe even Jackie, you might have put it in the chat. We can do this. Maybe not. Maybe it was just a thought that I had. We have all pivoted in our lives. We have all been walking down one path, and then something has happened, and we have taken a left or taken a right. Maybe it is a relationship that we got out of. Maybe it is a job that we left. Maybe it is a project within, you know, in our career that we have walked away from. We've taken ourselves out of. Maybe it is a friendship that we closed the door on, right? There's so many different things that we have done in our life where we have pivoted. And so I would like to just take a minute or two, and I want you to just jot down some notes. When are the times that I was going down this path and instead I decided to take a left or a right? So I'm going to give you 2 minutes to kind of just jot down some notes. If you come up with more than one, that's fine too. Yeah, Jess, go ahead. What's your question, lady?
No, I was just gonna spin off of that. And by the way,
Okay.
I literally like I have to say I apologize for not attending regularly like I said I was because it's been very,
Lady.
very difficult. But I'm so glad to be here for a second. For here. I
I'm
wanted to
assuming
tell
this
you-
is Jess Seward. Is that, I can't see you and you don't have a last name.
It's me.
Oh, hey, Jess Cheryl. Okay.
I'm sorry.
First of all, you never need to apologize anyone for ever being here or not being here. This is Trailblazers should fit into your life, not the other way around. So if we don't for a week or a month, totally fine. No worries.
Okay, because I've been dying, man. I was like, man, I'm getting on this call. Okay. So yeah, I wanted to share like this has been monumental the last 3 months. Before I met you guys, I was literally just, doing my mortgage broker thing, doing just traditional, just mortgage broker deals. And the market's changed, right? It's crazy. It's slow. People are jumping ship like left and right. I've been doing this for 24 years and I'm like, I'm not quitting, right? I'm not quitting because there's nothing else I would rather be doing, right? But I knew I had to do something different to excite me, right? And I was like, man, I got to learn something. So I pivoted and I literally went to this real estate meetup. Didn't know anybody there. I had no idea who or what or why. I had never even heard about private money. I thought it was private money. What does that mean, right? What does that mean? And then I started like just digging in and getting books and audios and YouTube and this and that. And then I find out that there's a Squad Up Summit and I'm like, yeah, I'll go, whatever. I want you guys to know, like when you do something different and shake it up, like magic happens. I've met so many badass women and people in this business. It has taken over my life, like literally changed my whole trajectory. You know what I'm saying? Like everything about it's different. I don't even talk to the same people anymore in this business. I don't maneuver the same way in my business. There's a confidence that like comes with like the passion, right? And it's like now I can't unlearn the information. I got to share it with the entire universe, you know, like it's so cool. So like what you're doing, Carrie Ann, like this is like, it's a trailblazing moment. That's all I got to say. So
Mm. Jess, I love this. Thank you, lady. Okay, let's take 2 minutes. That right there is the power of the pivot. That right there is the power of taking a left. Like Jess has been doing this for 24 years and she's like, whoop, something's not going on. So I'm going to take a little bit of a road. I'm going to turn a little bit. And now this whole life has opened up. So let's take 2 minutes to do that. Y'all know if I knew how to turn on music, I would do that. Please don't turn on music because then I'll get kicked off YouTube because we put wrong music. So just take 2 minutes and then we'll jump back on. Okay, I had a timer on and then it went away. Has it been 2 minutes? Anybody that's detail oriented?
Let's say that. Yeah.
For any of you who are like, what the hell? Why can't she not get it together today? I don't know. Maybe it's a new moon or something. I'm not really sure. When you think about this, when you like really write down, or even for those of you who are driving, just think about like other times in your life where you've pivoted, you've taken a left, you've taken a right. What's coming up for you when you think about where you're trying to get to? Any aha moments, any thoughts, anything anyone wants to share?
Well, I'll go first.
Thanks, Marcy.
Only because Carrie Ann, first and foremost, huge kudos to you. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
just being a straight shooter on my crazy deal. And then also just like being that confident, empathetic ear and listen to me talk on about this dang deal, about my own struggles, my own roadblocks going on over here. So just huge thank you to you. And then also, I think for myself, in regards to your question, Katie, just I was resonating with Jess, but then I'm also resonating with a couple in the chat here. I think Jackie is like, hey, we can do this. I'm like, yes, we can. And I think for myself that the same story I think is continuing to be true for me as Jess has shared. Like you go down a path and you see the opportunity and you seize the opportunity and you have that confidence level. But then there's like this inner voice that talks to you when kind of like what Carrie Ann, what you're going into, when you trailblaze your path and you get to one point of it and you're like, wow, this is really awesome. This is incredible. And then you think, but wait, I can't go there. I can't dip my toe, my foot in or my toe in because I don't want to jump in all the way because I got to be safe. I got to be secure. So for myself, it's just, I think continuing to step into the action Because a lot of times I'll find
Mm.
myself not stepping into the action. I'll enjoy everybody else's action because I feel safer.
And I tell you what, ladies, I'm going to piggyback for a second, Marcy, on step into the action. I have been in this knowledge business, as Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins like to call this. In case you don't know, this business of mentorships and things like that, they call it the knowledge business. It is a $1 billion a day industry, which tells me a lot of things. One is that it tells me that people are looking, people are searching, right? Whether it is health and fitness coaching, personal development coaching, business coaching, etc., right? Like huge gamut. But there are a lot of people who believe they are taking action because they are consuming program over and over and over and over. And I know these people. I have watched them jump from one program to the next. I know people who have spent well into multiple six figures. That is not taking action. Signing up for a class, signing up for a mentorship, it is part of it. And I think that it's great and wonderful that you do it. Part of doing the hard thing is showing up to stuff like this. But if you don't take action outside of the content that you can learn, the Zoom meetings that you can be a part of, just know that nothing is going to change. So if anyone needs to hear that message, this is your permission to take the step to jump off of the fence of just consumption of the knowledge and to actually put some of these things into action. And that was just my soapbox for a minute.
Gotta just say,
So,
preach it, Katie.
yeah. Well, I mean, oof. Yeah, Dawn says she knows a few. Susan, what's up, lady? You're on mute, Susan.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize you called on me.
That's, oh, you're fine.
Sorry, I came in a bit late. I just saw the message like, oh, I need to get in there. So sorry, I didn't get what you guys were talking about before, but
Yeah.
from your email, I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna be vulnerable here.
Yeah, that's what we're here for.
It's like, okay, so I find it hard. I think Marcy was saying this about this voice that gets inside of our heads. Like I was dialing today, like all day, and had some, I mean, I'm working with a small team and I'm dialing.
Are you doing wholesaling, Susan?
Mm-hmm.
Direct to agent or direct to seller?
Direct to seller.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, I mean, when I think I got my mindset going good and I'm motivated, I'm okay. And then as the day goes on, I'm like, oh, and then I get calls that are really rude, and then I get really nice calls. And so it's kind of like, I don't want my emotions and my mind to change with the calls. I want to be able to be, like strong no matter what. And I'm trying, and it's just hard. And so I can see that, yes, I got to put in the work, and yes, it's going to end up happening again. It's just a lot of work, just doing it, hitting the KPIs and stuff. But I'm always fighting a battle with myself. And can I do this? Like, okay, today was a bad day, tomorrow is going to be a better day. And then I listen to things when I'm walking in the morning. So I'm trying to, fill my mind with stuff that's positive and uplifting to combat the negative that just seems to be natural. I don't know why. Like,
yeah.
Anyway.
I have some thoughts based on my coaching and stuff, but if anybody else has anything they want to jump in with, we can do that.
Well, Katie, the one thing that I have to share a huge thank you to you when you spoke at Hyundai this week. The one thing that I not necessarily took away because I had several nuggets, but that confidence resume, game changer. All I got to say, for those of you that don't have that or haven't seen that from Katie, woo, I got that posted on my desk now. So I'm like, oh yeah, I got this.
Yeah. So one of the things that I teach is I talk about how we build our confidence, what happens when we lose it, and how to get it back anytime, anywhere. And I believe I did a workshop for Trailblazers a couple months ago and gave out the confidence resume. I'll see if I can go find that in the playlist. If
Was
not,
it
we'll
where you
do
talk
that.
about what you to remember back where you did achievements and did well and okay, I need to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think
know
we had
y'all did
time
that.
to do it. When we with Marcy's team, we actually did it on Friday. So maybe that's also, we could still do one. I mean, here's the thing, even if you've done one, it's probably been 4 or 5 months. And this is something, so I call it a confidence resume because it's something you constantly add to. And the idea is that confidence is a muscle. You build it by doing the hard thing. Oftentimes, though, we think that we have to wait until we feel confident to go do the next hard thing. And in fact, what we have to do is we have to take all the moments and experiences where we've been building confidence our whole life, pull them out from the corner where they have dust and cobwebs, put them front and center. And like Shane's is like right over there on our wall. I don't know if you can see. Mine is not up yet right now. Like we have giant sticky notes, like this one at the far corner, that's part of Shane's confidence resume. So
Well,
the whole
that-
idea is, how do you connect with those things? I had a couple of other thoughts though for you, Susan, and a couple of them are this. There is a difference between alignment and getting through something that is just tough, right? So a few years ago, I trained for a half marathon. I wound up getting shin splints and really bad plantar fasciitis. So I did not get to run the race, which was pretty devastating. Now, when I look back at that, I don't look at that as a failure because I went from running nothing to being able to run 6 miles at a time. Now, doing the work sucked. Getting up and doing the running sucked. But when I was done, and part of it is running gives you serotonin, but when I was done, it was getting me towards things, right? So you also have to remember, I've done a lot of Strengths Finders coaching, Clifton Strengths. I'm not like Bridget, who I have a certificate from Gallup, but I've literally been using that tool with my own team since 2010. And then every woman I ever did individual coaching for, I had her take it. And if we were doing leadership coaching with her team, she took it, right? So Susan, we've already talked about this, but I have seen in real estate investing that there are things that bring in quicker cash flow than others, right? Because buying a rental and holding it for 5 years and letting the pity go from negative $100 to $1,000 a month takes a lot of time, right? So sometimes we get into something and we're like, oh, I'm going to do wholesaling because it's cash now, cash flow. You have to ask yourself, Susan, does the work suck because I need to get better at it and it just sucks and I need to get better at it? Or does the work suck because it's so far out of alignment in what my natural talents and strengths are? Let me give you an example. I tried underwriting. I sat in front of spreadsheets. I wanted to shoot myself because it absolutely is the furthest thing from my natural abilities and my talents. When I looked at capital raising, I didn't necessarily want to get back into capital raising because I'd already done fundraising for nonprofits. And I walked away from that. But I realized it's different. One, it's not the same as nonprofit fundraising. A lot of the skill set is the same. A lot of the basis is the same. But the things that I was annoyed with about fundraising are different than capital raising things that I'm going to be annoyed by and am annoyed by. So, but once I did the work aligns with who I am. So part of what we need to think about is, do you just hate it or does it not align? Because if you just hate it, like I hated running and you're like, yeah, but this is how I got to get there, then you got to just keep going for your daily runs and doing your calls. But if you're like, I should be stuck, like when I talked to Ashley Zhang and she was like, I love spreadsheets. And I'm like, then why are you out talking to humans? Like, stop acting like you're going to raise billions of dollars. Go become the best underwriter due diligence analyst, ever. And when she aligned to that, she was like, oh yeah, it doesn't really suck, even though what she was doing was new. That makes sense, Susan? Is that helpful at all?
Yeah,
I don't know if
it's
that
really
answers
good.
anything.
No, it's really good. I guess I want to get, I like talking to people. I was a teacher for many years at college, right? And so I love dealing with people, I love talking to people. It's just not the yucky, grumpy, mean
Yeah.
people. But you got to get through
And-
those to get to the, the ones you can help. And when I do get to those, we have really good conversations. And
Yeah.
then they tell me how wonderful it is to talk to me and stuff like that. And so it's kind of like I get the good, but then you got to go through all the mud to get to them, which
You
is
do.
what wholesaling is and cold calling is. And eventually with our team, they're going to be paying for inbound leads. So at the meantime, I'm just seeing it as getting better with my skills, getting better with objections, So I want to do it. I just need to, I don't know.
Yeah. So
better
one
at
of the things then that I would suggest, so to anybody who's like, no, the work is right, but it still feels weird, let's talk about reframing for a minute, right? So instead of saying, oh my gosh, I have to get through all the no's to get to the yes, maybe you reframe it as, oh my gosh, I'm not counting my yeses today. I'm only counting my no's. And in fact, I want 30 no's or I want 40 no's, right? So you look for that and that becomes the game, right? If we can gamify things, I don't know if y'all have noticed, but like there's a lot of stuff out there that's all about gamification. Why? Because it works, because we glue to it. So let's think about, instead of saying, oh, I've got to get to the yeses, no, I got to get to 50 no's because I know that the math works out that for every 50 no's, I get my one yes. So I know a lot of salespeople that do that. They track that instead of the positive thing. There's a couple of other tricks like that, right? So a reframing also could be if you guys are going to have inbound market or outbound marketers and you're going to get inbound leads, then you may look at it as, oh, my job right now is to become the best that I can about objections so I can train those people who are going to get objections next.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not about me. It's about what I have to learn so I can teach it so that I can then go to the next level. So I can step out of this.
Wow, you are amazing. That's what they want me to do.
Yeah. So that's
exactly
the whole thing.
what
Like,
they see
so
is,
look at the focus. It's one of those things when you're driving and you're like, I just hit a red light. And then you're like, damn, I hit another one. Because you're looking for it. You're looking for it. And right now you're looking for the pain. So instead, let's reframe that and say, oh, well, actually, I'm winning when I get a no, because that means I'm getting closer to what I want. I'm winning when I get a tricky, objection to overcome, because that's something new to add to my tool belt. Like, it may seem weird, but I promise you that the brain will adapt and adjust to it.
Yeah, I like how it changing the framework, changing what I'm looking for, and that'll hopefully change up here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Carrie Ann, what were you gonna say, lady?
I also think there's a huge component for me, when we are doing the things right and we are putting in the work and we're kind of living in alignment with what we know feels best, that is when the adversary hits us hardest. For me, I am Christian. I believe that like when we are following Christ and doing our best, that is when the adversary says, how can I trip them up? And I know we always, in church, growing up, you hear about like sin. I was never tempted by sin, but he gets me through discouragement. he gets me through disappointment. That's what gets me. And so when we know that good things will come as long as we are doing our best and we're putting in the work, it will come. There is a tipping point where just numbers wise it happens, but also right before a breakthrough is when it gets really hard. When you are in the slog and you feel like, I can't do this again. I can't hear another person call me names on the phone. You also don't know how close that goal is. And it feels far away. And that's why it feels so hard. If it was like, Susan, once you get 4 more no's, you're going to get a big old yes that's going to pay your house payment for the next year. You would be on that phone so fast, we couldn't stop you. But because we look at our goals like they're so far away, as opposed to it could be the next person I meet. Did I have any idea? I had a couple phone calls with Katie before we met at Squat Up. Did I have any clue that next relationship would be like, oh, and by the way, now she's one of my best friends and we're texting constantly and we're going to build trailblazers and I'm talking about her on other Zooms and other podcasts. I had no clue that's what was happening because I was like, I told my husband, I said, I feel out of place. I don't have like my people. I've never been a people. I'm a friends with everyone person, but I've never had my own little tribe of like, you are my dozen or you are my 2 dozen. And then I go to Squat Up and I came home and I'm like, I found at least 2 more of my people. But it was so close. We just can't see it. That's it.
Thank you. I love that. Complete agreement and alignment with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I appreciate what you just said, Carrie Ann, about this whole idea of if we knew if we knew how close we were to that thing that was going to be the linchpin that was going to, have a payday or whatever it is for you, right? Everybody's different. There would be nothing that could stop you. And that is the focus that would be interesting to have. The other thing, Susan, that I will say is, especially for people who are new in this whole entrepreneurial world, the roller coaster it's true. The roller coaster of, oh my God, this is the best day. And then an hour later, this sucks. Let me go get a job. And then, oh my gosh, I would never work for anyone else. And then, oh my gosh, I'm going to be homeless tomorrow. Like that is true. And I tend to believe, this is my own opinion, just given my experience watching Shane build a business from scratch, having coached the women that I've coached that have owned businesses. If you can figure that piece out, if you can figure out how to be so grateful and appreciative for the highs, but also not get so high that when the low happens, you get so low. If you can figure out how to become steady Eddie in the midst of the roller coaster of entrepreneurship, one, if you can bottle and sell it, like people will buy that all day long. But 2, that's the trick. The work isn't I got to make phone calls. Do you like it? No. Do you want to do it? No. Do you know you're going to? Yes. The work isn't the hard piece. The work in entrepreneurship, not the hard thing. It's the mindset. It's the, am I actually worthy? Can I actually finish? Can I actually hire? Will someone really partner with me? Will they really give me their money? Can I really do this? That's the hard part. And that all happens up here. And what I love more than anything about real estate is that at least how we all have met, where many of us are coming from, we have been taught you can't do this by yourself. And I'm like, thank God I can't do this by myself, because to me, that means I have to go find other amazing people. And in my world, that means women, to go do all the things that I can't do. Even though, let's be real, and those some of you who've said, yeah, I'll help with Trailblazers, and you're waiting for me to call you, it is hard AF for me to let go. It really is. So I also get that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if anyone has any advice on how you just stay steady, Eddie. 'Cause that's not my natural ability. But that's the key.
Mm. I would say like,
Yeah.
give yourself grace when you don't. Because none of us are very, I don't know anybody that's every day can give the same. There are days where even for no reason at all, you're just like, I don't have it today. I don't know why. I don't have the interest. I don't feel like it. Okay, so don't. You know, the days where you have it and you wake up with all that fire, go from sun up till sundown and just give yourself grace when you can. The beauty of these groups is when you feel isolated, because I would imagine when you're doing wholesaling and cold calling, it's not that same connectivity as pulling a deal together with 5 other people. So it's good to get in groups and get motivation from other people, but also feel like it's not just me sitting in my house by myself doing real estate. That, you know, it's all of us kind of out there doing it, and we support each other, and it reminds you of there's more to it than just work and money. There's community and friends and connections that you get out of it. And it's a really nice bonus piece.
I mean, heck, Susan, maybe like next week if something's feeling bad and you're like, dude, I just need some love. I need some people to talk me off. You just drop in Trailblazers. Ladies, it is a hard day. Anyone else having a hard day? Anyone at a 10 that can give me some energy? Right. Part of the reason why I ask where is everyone coming in is because I want to know if you're at a 4 and someone else is at a 10. The goal is not to bring the 10 down to a 4. The goal is to bring the 4 up to a 10, right? That's the goal when we leave. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe when you're having a great day, you drop something in Trailblazers and you're like, ladies, I'm having a great day. And if you're not, I'm just telling you, keep going. You got this. Share my energy. If you need to borrow my confidence today, if you need to borrow my belief today, like you got it. Like again, I've already said this, but I'll say this again. If you want to learn actual real estate like stuff, we're probably not the place for you because we're going to talk a lot more about all the other stuff. You can go and find all of those experts, and many of us already have. I know I've paid them. Go find those experts. What you're coming here for is all the stuff you're not getting in other places. Evangelina, you have had your hand up for a while. Tell us what is happening, lady. Uh-oh, she muted herself. Evangelina,
shoot.
do you?
Can you hear
Yeah.
me, Hen?
Yeah, we can. What's up, lady?
Okay, so just want to bring out the good and the bad here. I did a deal where I had a house and I did the paperwork, and it was to buy to lease for 3 years, and those 3 years was supposed to be for them to get their credit score up. And I had told them that those 3 years they were making payments, it was going to be towards their reduce the amount of the home because I had equity in it. Well, after 3 years, 36 months, 18 of those months they did not pay rent. Basically, it went sour. Okay, let's just face it, it went sour. I didn't know what to do. I should have, after really analyzing it, because of this wonderful team. I looked at what actually happened, try to take the emotion out of the failure of having to get rid of the house. I didn't have the confidence to say, okay, you know what, this is not going right for me. I'm going to go ahead and sell. I fell into that emotion of the fact that they had a disabled child. Both parents were working. Boy, they came out with all these wonderful excuses. For 3 years, I have a friend who's a broker, and he would go down to visit his dad. He stopped by my house to check on the progress because, I said, man, I really want to sell this house. And he goes, you should just sell it. But I felt so sorry because, they had 4 children, one was handicapped, and I went through that emotion that I should not have done. But looking back, and I actually wrote it out, and the yes, the pros, the cons, and the ability that I don't have, and I'm okay with that, to pick the right people. So I already know what areas that I'm not strong in and I don't want to be strong in. And I'm okay with that. So I want to thank you guys for helping me get to that point that I can move on. And I have a couple of 2 places that I'm looking at to see. I'm gonna check them out and do some more math to see if it's gonna be product or profitable or not. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm coming from, where before it was an emotional thing that I got into, and the numbers were good if everything was right, if everything went along with paying the rent or the mortgage or whatever you call it. They didn't have it. They just weren't that wasn't an important thing for them.
Yeah.
So that's all I wanted to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, Evangelina. Okay. You said something in that I want to address for everyone. You said
Okay.
should. You used the word should.
Yes.
You said I should have.
Yes.
The only time that I think should is valuable is how it informs what we're going to do next time. Because we cannot actually change anything that has happened.
No.
So when you look next, write yourself your boundaries, write yourself your rules, right? If you are not the person that can go to a renter and say, hey, lady, you're late. And oh, by the way, in your lease, it says you owe me $25 a day. And now you're 7 days late. And so you owe me whatever that math is that I'm not doing. Right. Then you got to find someone who can help you be that person.
Sure. Correct. Thank you for that. And I've learned since I had a business for 5 years, and I have actually fired 2 people. Woo-hoo, and I did charge, and I felt comfortable with the women that I had. I was 5 years, and I had 14 people, and the only reason I don't have it is because they sold the building and kicked us all out. So, but being able to really expect the fact that this is a priority of not only paying rent, but also conducting yourself in a professional manner. I think I'm good with that because I'm actually having to deal with the failures. Well, failures, I want to learn from them.
Yeah, you've absolutely learned.
Yeah.
This is just a really expensive lesson for you.
Oh, very, very. But
yeah.
And I asked myself, where do you want to draw the line? Me, where's my, okay, we're not crossing this. This is it. What are you talking about? Are you going to take 3 years or 3 months? That's it. Done. Put a for sale sign. You got to go. You know what I mean? So I found myself setting boundaries where I'm comfortable in the transaction and saying, okay, we're out, or you're out, or whatever it takes to say, okay, we're not doing this for the next 3 or 4 or 5 years. We're not doing this.
Yeah.
So I feel good about that. And I'm happy that I wrote it out, and I can see in my writing how I wrote and where do I find the confidence where it happened several years ago. And how is it going to either help me or hinder me going forward, or what things I need to implement within myself and, my, where I'm at personality wise, and also experience or lack of, or what I need to get to move forward so I can get a better results of my transactions.
Absolutely. And that is the big thing, right? It is about that. I'll give y'all one thing, and Michelle, I think I just cut you off, so I'm going to give you the floor in just 1 second. But one thing that I have decided, when it's setting hard boundaries, does anybody play blackjack? Anybody familiar with blackjack?
Yeah.
Couple people. Okay, not everybody, but in blackjack, when you go to play blackjack, when you get a 16, you either always hit or you always stay. And blackjack players, for the most part, they'll say you stay, right? Because the chances of you getting a 10, depending on how things are going, and you busting your hand, right? You losing your money is pretty high. And I remember I had a friend, Brandon, his daughter is my oldest goddaughter. And I was playing, and I'm a craps player. I don't play blackjack. And I hit, and he was like, "What in the hell are you doing to me? You have to stop doing this." And he taught me this rule of 16. And because of that, because I don't know about you all, but Evangelina, if you're telling your story, I'm like, oh, I hear you. Like, I have a big heart. Like, I used to work with kids who had disabilities. Like, I could see how I would be like, oh, but what I've decided is that there are lines in my life where I either always hit at 16 or I don't. And so it doesn't matter what anyone is showing me. It doesn't matter how they're playing their hands. I just know that if I have a renter who doesn't pay their rent, I'm always coming back to them, right? And so I have hard and fast rules for life that take out my emotion. It's kind of like, Susan, what we were talking about. Like, you got to make calls. So you're just going. It doesn't matter if you're like, well, I don't really feel like it. You're like, nope, that's actually like, I'm taking my emotion out. I'm always going to hit on 16, or I'm always going to stay on 16. So sometimes creating those kind of boundaries and rules for yourself actually give you more of an ability and allow you to let go, because you just know. It's like Carrie Ann. Carrie Ann's like, no, I work out 5 days a week. Like, that's the rule. I don't care if I don't want to go that day. This is what I do. This is who I am, right? I decide what I want, and I say who I am, and I act accordingly. So if that is helpful at all. Michelle, I'm sorry that I cut you off. What were you going to say, lady?
I was gonna say a couple things. One, Evangelina, is that right? How I say that?
Yes.
From what I'm hearing you say, you just need to put boundaries in. You need to put boundaries on your boundaries. So have a lovely flower bed, and then have a fence, and then have a very vicious dog, and then have your boundary, so that you can like have the person have the opportunity to run into your flowers and say they're sorry and change their ways, or run into the fence and say ouch and change their ways, or unfortunately experience a very vicious dog that they may have wished to not get to. So just set up boundaries to protect yourself, like several of them if
Yeah.
your heart is big. In
Yes.
regard to Susan, honey, that's them. That's not you. They're ugly. You're not. They have a problem. You don't. You're going to offer them a service. They're either going to receive it or they're not. And if they're going to receive it, good to them. If they're not, that's on them. That's not on you. You are doing them a service. You are a very kind, caring, thoughtful person that wants the best for them. Just call them and offer a service. If they take it, good. If they don't, well, too bad for them. They're going to wish they did. End of story. Thank you. Bye.
I love that, Michelle. That was like some mic drop right there. That was fantastic. Okay, it is 7:06 Central, which means it's 6 after the hour, no matter where you are. Let's do this. Let's wrap up, unless anybody else is like, oh my God, I have this problem. I came here. I wanted to solve it. I really need to talk about it. If that's you, we can certainly talk about it. Otherwise, let's wrap up with, Megan. Megan was like, Johnny on it. What's up, lady?
I just want to say something that's not real estate related. Sandra looks like Sandra Bullock. Does everyone agree?
Yes. And in person, it's even more. It's crazy.
Thank you.
I wanted to throw that out there. But otherwise, tonight I'm having a great night on my serves, except for this last one was my old boss from a job I had before. But anyway, I actually did a serve to a construction guy, and now he's going to be teaming up with me. And, so I'm going to be working on more construction projects, and he might actually work in the Spencer area with me on getting some of those houses for Section 8. Yeah, it's funny what you
Get
do on a
it.
serve. I'm like, I'm collecting a team here with this. So yeah, I'm just like, I totally understand. I've been served before, you know, so some of these serves are just, you know, whatever. But yeah, so now he and I are going to team up, and he said, I'm willing to travel out to Spencer and whatever you got, you know, he's like, I'll find you jobs out here too. I'm like, cool. So yeah, that's my good bit for today.
Megan is always making the best out of the situations, and I freaking love it. I don't know if anybody, if you haven't met Megan, she brings a smile to my face every single time I talk to her and see her. She cracks me up. We like could not be more opposite, but I adore the heck out of her. And Megan, I just can't wait to see where else you are going on this journey, because I know you got some cool stuff coming up. What do you have to celebrate? What are your wins? Where have you taken small steps, giant leaps? Where have maybe you gotten out of your own way? What has gone right? And remember that one of the reasons why we share is, one, to remind your brain that this has happened, so it will look for more ways for you to be successful and to have wins. Number two, you sharing your wins. Remember, we are collaboration, not competition. So when you hear a win, I want you to focus, right? Reframing, back to what we were talking about with Susan. Reframe. Oh, if this is possible for her, it is possible for me. And if you want to know how she got there, I guarantee you she'll get off the phone with us and schedule a call with you to actually tell you how she got to those steps. So who has something that we can celebrate? Evangelina, did you have something, or was your hand still up from earlier? Okay. Crystal, do you have anything, lady? You had a very big week last week, and everybody was very nervous and excited for you.
Wow. First, energy is at a 4 today. It's still at a 4. Sorry. It's been a rough fucking couple of days. Excuse my language. But last week, you know, thank you all for the support. It was a big ego boost. And so thank you. I really, really appreciate it. I definitely needed it. I was super nervous. But the meeting itself went super well. The business may not work out, just because I think it might be too small. We're still trying to figure out some details. But it's a construction company right where we want to be in Colorado. And so there is some potential there. So we're still trying to work out some of the details. The owner might be willing to stay on for a little while too. So there's definitely something there. Had a third conversation with him, had one with him and Shane. So we're moving things forward, but he literally told me, like, I've interviewed a handful of people for this because it was the actual owner. And he's like, you're the only one I want to buy the company. So he's like, it's the energy. It's the fact that I know the business really well and everything. He's like, you're really the only one that I see as a viable option. He says, I got investors calling me all the time. And there's other people. He goes, I just don't foresee them being able to do this. So it was a great conversation, whether this business works out or not. It was a good way for me to get in front of people when I didn't feel confident enough to do so, and just kind of push it, you know, like over the limit and over the edge for me. And since then I've had conversations with other brokers. And so I'm working on 3 other businesses right now as well. And one of them, I'm hoping to talk to the sellers next week. So there's some good things coming from just that deal alone. So whether it works out or not, you know, I got a lot of intangible assets out of it. So thank you.
Get it, lady. Oh my gosh. Well, your cheering section is very proud of you. So get it. Yeah. And sorry you've been having some yucky days. Hopefully that turns around soon. But
it'll turn around when I quit my job.
Well, okay, so that was what I was gonna ask. If y'all buy a business in Colorado, are y'all gonna move?
Eventually, but not until my kid graduates. So we have operators out there, luckily.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Who else has something that they want to celebrate? What has been going well? Where have you taken a step? I will say, I think that I've shared this with you all, but I honestly sometimes forget. So if I haven't, then if y'all are like, what is she talking about? Just let me know. So I have joined a real estate fund as a capital raiser, head of their investor relations and strategic initiatives. We are going to be buying what is called unanchored strip centers. So smaller strip centers that do not have like a Walmart, a Target, a brand name, mostly in Southern California and in Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex. We are raising money from women, which I'm super excited, and I'll share a lot more of that with you all later in case there's anybody that wants to get excited about that. But I went home to Dallas and I had several meetings because a lot of the women that I want to engage as potential investors are from my old life, right? They're either women that I've been friends with for a long time, or they are former donors that actually I worked with when I was still in nonprofit fundraising. And those meetings went really, really well. And so I just have to tell y'all, like, I was scared shitless. I'm like, oh my gosh. And one of the ladies that I was talking to owns her own commercial real estate brokerage firm, and they do everything from leasing to buying. And she has been in the business for 35 years. I've known her for over a decade, but she's never known me in this because obviously it's still fairly new. And so I had a conversation with her Friday morning and I was like, ugh, like I was so nervous. I was saying the wrong things. She's an expert, you know, like all the stuff. And she was like, Katie, I totally see this. I'm not going to invest because of X, Y, and Z. And she had very specific reasons why. One, she doesn't need to invest with me because she's buying her own buildings and she doesn't need to be an LP. But it was a good feeling. And so I just want to share that because I was terrified. And I'm doing the scary things along with all of you. I'm like Crystal. I'm like, oh, I was so nervous going into that meeting, but then it wrecked. So that's my win for the week. What does everyone else have?
I think teach people or treat people like they're your friend, like they're an everyday person. The more they respect you, the more that they are receptive to be open. Because when you put up the guards, it puts up guards for them. So it's important when you do big things like that. I've had to do a few of those things in my life. And they said, but you just came in so natural. And I said, well, we're all human. We're just trying to get something done. So I just figured I'd present it. You could choose or not. It was up to you. So again, it's just that whole letting them show up or not show up. And how they show up is on them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for me, a lesson was I'm not the same person that I used to be. Like all of you who've decided to jump into this, like Carrie Ann shared, there are people from my past who want to define me and put me back into my box. That's on them. And if I tell them, hey, I'm not in the box anymore, I'm actually over here doing this thing, and they still think that I'm in the box or want me back, then that just means they're not my person to move forward with. And as much as sometimes that hurts my ego, I have to stay aligned. One of the things that I was telling my husband on the way back yesterday that I'm very big on right now. Do I want all of you to like me? Yes. Do I want the people I want to raise capital from to like me? Yes. Like I am a woo on the Strength Finders. It means winning others over. It is literally like written down. You want people to like you. But at the end of the day, I have realized at 44 that when I am brushing my teeth and washing my face at night, if I can't look at me and be like, do you like you? And answer yes, then I don't care how much money I made that day. I don't care what I did for someone else. But if I can't like me, then none of it is worth it. So like, if you want to put me in your box because you don't like me, whatever. I don't really care. Moving on. Who else has something that they want to share? Because I know you've had wins, big, small, giant, terrifying. Megan.
I'll go again since so the lien on my house is still there, but I just noticed today It's going through court. They finally saw it as Secretary of State. The liens are still active, but they have it now to remove it eventually, but that's something.
That's huge,
And-
lady.
Yeah. So then am I what is that called? The adjuster. I was gonna say abstractor. The adjuster, finally, I called him back because it's been a week now since he looked at the house, the one with the tree that fell on it. Yeah, so he forgot to email me. I'm like, oh hey, yeah. So he's like, oh, I guess I didn't email you last week. Here's your, he's like about 14,000 something for the he just wants me to replace the two sides of the roof. But I already had an estimate for the whole thing, and they estimated way lower than what he was gonna give me, but we're also gonna do the porch. So I'm like, oh, that should cover everything. Cool. Usually you go under and you have to end up paying over, but I'm like, I think I'll actually be good and have a whole new roof and porch roof, and I'll sell it even higher than I had it originally. So that, and what else? So the liens, that, there was something else. Oh, and the guy in Emmitsburg, my trailer park, there's that property next to it that I had his number for a while in my fridge to call someday. He ends up calling me randomly. He's like, yeah, I got your number from Bob, my lawn maintenance guy on the trailer park. He's like, yeah, I've been meaning to talk to you. I had your number for a month. I'm like, that's funny because I did too. Anyways, he wants to see my ideas happen. He's like, maybe we can collaborate. Maybe I can do something with this corner lot. I'm like, oh, I don't even have to ask him for permission. I was like, here, I thought he was gonna be a tough guy to work with, on this. I'm like, oh, he's willing to do better the Fort Dodge, or not Fort Dodge, Emmitsburg area, and maybe do Section 8 rentals also. So yeah, a lot of things happened today. This is why I like
Get
Mondays.
it, lady? No wonder you're like at 100. It's like Good News Central over there in Iowa, which is awesome because you had a string of crap news for a while. So it's good that some rainbows are heading your way after all the storms. Who else? Anyone else?
Okay, I'll say something.
Yeah,
It's
Susan.
not really, it's not real estate related.
That's okay.
But I have been really trying to, Carrie Ann's gonna be like, exercise every day. And I've been doing it. This will be my 3rd week. And this comes from someone that doesn't like to do it, but I want to change that. And so I want to develop new habits. And so my goal is
Really,
to
that's
exercise every
amazing.
45 minutes every day, and no matter what, I've been doing it. And then journaling in the night and setting my intentions for the next day, and like journaling what I'm grateful for. So I'm trying to change mindset stuff and my body and just be physically better. So overall things will work better, like with
Yes.
life. So
And Susan, I'm going to stop you for a second, and we're going to give you a 12-second pause, and I want you to come back, and I want you to say, I am so proud of myself because I have worked out for 3 weeks straight. And I want you to put energy and excitement because you should be proud of yourself because it's awesome and amazing. And listen, everybody has to start somewhere. So you need to be so excited. Can you say it again one more time, but like give it some excitement?
okay.
Okay, we're
I'm so
ready.
excited because I'm continuing my exercise journey and I haven't given up, and I've done
Yes,
day.
lady, you haven't given
So,
up. That is
and it's
amazing.
going to continue.
That's right. Awesome, awesome. Congrats, lady. Monica said she's on day 11 of 75 hard. Oh my gosh, Monica, that is amazing. I'm so glad that you're doing that. Better you than me.
Thank you. I know.
Were you
I'm
doing one of your
doing it.
workouts?
No, I'm on my way to yoga in a little while. So, but yeah, this is probably my 7th attempt.
Listen.
So yeah, so 75 hard. So finally I'm on day 11. I figured it out. I figured out how to do it. So now it's like I'm planning my day, and even Oliver, my husband, is always asking, where are you on 75 hard today? Where are you on 75 hard? I just got to do my workout. I'm on top of it. I did all of this stuff. So it's been amazing. It's been really amazing to feel like I can accomplish it, and I can see the vision. And I also have this vision of myself, I have a wedding coming up in August, and like I'm already visualizing what my body's gonna look like. And I've never been able to visualize that before. And I'm 55. So I've never been able to visualize like success in that realm, even though I've always, like I was telling someone, I've always been consistently inconsistent with exercise my entire life. But there's things I can do at 55 that I didn't think I could. I was jumping on a box the other day at the gym, and it was like, I've always wanted to do that. I saw the box and it just out of the blue, I said, okay, let me see if I can jump on top of this box. It's one of those, I don't know what you call these boxes, but these gym boxes.
Box jumps. I think that's
Yeah,
what they're
yeah.
called. That's what my trainer would
And then
call
you
them.
just, yeah, so you just burst yourself up, you know, and I just go, oh my God, I can do this. So anyway, it was a good win for me. And I'm feeling good. So hopefully I'll report back, 75 days later and with my win for 75 hard. And if I can do it, it's a 1-year program too. There's other aspects
Yeah.
you can add to it. Mhm.
Oh, I have a friend. She's done all the things. First of all, congratulations. 75 hard is absolutely hard. I've never done it, but I have a lot of friends who have.
Okay.
Second of all, I love that you are like, yeah, this is my 8th time trying. And the reason I say this is because the things that we are all trying to do in our real estate business, sometimes we think, oh, it's just going to take that first try or that second try. And then on the second try, we're like, well, shit, it didn't work. Maybe I need to go back to my W-2, or maybe I need to give this up. Right. And you're like, this is my 8th time starting over. Like, that is a phenomenal reminder to us that sometimes it doesn't happen on the 1st or 2nd or 4th or 6th or 7th. And if you don't get to 75 hard and you don't finish, like, we're still going to love you. We're still going to think you're amazing. And maybe it'll be the 9th or 10th. We're hoping it's the 8th, but like, this is awesome. So congrats. And the other thing, again, I don't know if anybody else has done it. I've heard so many women who are like, yeah, I did it to get in shape. And they're like, by the end, they're like, my mindset is totally different. I journal. I've read all these books. Like, not just
And
about
here's
what your
another-
body's gonna. Yeah.
Here's another win with this. We had really bad news yesterday on a deal where we could still lose $30,000 on it, but hoping not, pray. But you know what I usually do when I'm stressed out? What do you think I do?
You eat.
Exactly. And I didn't do it. I was ready to do it. I walked to the refrigerator to do it, but I didn't do it.
Did you go for a walk instead? What did you do instead?
I went to bed.
You did, but you broke the pattern, breaking the habit. Oh, that's awesome, Monica. Well, I hope your yoga session is exactly what you need tonight.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
I love being here.
We love you being here. We love having you. All right. Anything else, ladies? Okay. I don't know what's in front of
I'm in
oh,
here for 1 second. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
So this
you're-
is my
Don't
first
be sorry.
time.
Tell us your
carrying
name
on.
though, because
You
we don't
Oh,
know
it's not on there?
Roundup Solutions.
Oh, it's Dawn.
Dawn. Oh,
Yes.
Dawn W. Dawn. Long
Sororities.
last name. Nope, just kidding. Different Dawn.
Nope.
Well, welcome, Dawn.
So, I'm trying to think of like wins, and it just occurred to me when you were trying to figure out what my last name was. But first, I just wanted to say this is my first time coming, and I've been in real estate for a few years. I started with Reen, and seeing all these very unfamiliar faces. Carrie Ann invited me, and I'm realizing this is a sub-2 women's group, so it's very
It's
different.
not.
No,
Though we're not. We're not associated. So the call started when I'm in sub 2.
Yep.
It started as a call, but not everyone is in sub 2, and we don't talk about sub 2. And Pace Morby doesn't own this, and I'm never
Yep.
selling.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
no, like, yeah, we should start with, we're not a Pace Morby group. We love Pace. Many of us love Pace, but
Yes.
no, we're not. But then I'm glad that you said that so we could clear that on up.
Sure. Yeah, no, I just meant in the sense that I started with a women's group. And so when I joined Sub 2, it's just been such a different atmosphere. Very, very different. And so trying to navigate my way through and see where I fit in, who I fit in with, and just make those connections. I'm only like 3 months in. And so, there's so many Zooms that you could really like consume yourself with and get nothing done. So I had, popped in here today and I thought, well, is this a group that I'm, gonna be able to follow up with and go every Monday? And I have to say, you ladies have been amazing, like just very supportive to each other. It's really nice to see. So thank you for inviting me, Carrie Ann, to this meeting. And I will be joining again. Well, maybe now I don't want to mention it because I don't know how you guys feel about Sub 2, but
Oh no, I mean,
oh, okay.
listen, no, yeah, there's a lot of people in here, but when we grew outside of Sub 2, there are women who are in Trailblazers who are not members of Sub 2 who don't they don't pay Pace anything, right?
Yep.
And so
Okay.
they felt left out. So that's why we're like, oh, well, we're not actually part of, and we're not allowed to post our calls anymore inside Sub 2. So we're like,
yeah,
like we
So
get
we're
a
just
lot of
real estate
women because there's a lot of
investors.
us.
Yeah.
Exactly. And everybody does something different. Not everybody's in single family either.
So everyone they're not necessarily capital raisers, or they're just all different real estate investors, period. Okay, cool. Okay. So, I started about 2 years ago and I, started doing flips, and I love doing the flips. But I love raising capital better. I think that is just one of the easier, I don't know, I just found it natural in doing my flips. So I'm kind of going down that path, and I want to have some buy and holds. My goal is 100 doors this year. I know we're kind of halfway through the year and I have 2, but that's okay because we could still buy 3 houses and still have my 100 doors. But my win, or my almost win, I don't want to capital raises. Yeah. I don't want to jinx myself, but I do have a woman who needed some lending, and she's doing 12 duplexes that are ground up builds. Very excited for her. This is like her 5th build. She's such an introvert and such a little church mouse, but she's like doing the things and building houses and fixing up the neighborhood. So I'm super proud to be a part of that potential venture. She should be closing in like a week and a half. So I'm super excited to be a part of that. And I did just win a day with Pace, so that was cool. Don't know any idea when that's going to happen, because I don't know. They kind of, it seems like they tell you last minute when it's going to happen, but very excited for that to happen. Hopefully I can go to Arizona for my 50th, which is in a few weeks. And to go off of what Monica had said, I met Monica on Zoom a few weeks ago, maybe about a month ago. And I'm going to be 50 this year, and I do Spartan races. So it doesn't matter how old you are, you can still be in great shape. And I'm a grandmother of a 4-year-old who's going to be 4 in 2 days, and doing the monkey bars with her. So
nice.
I've never been able to do monkey bars in my life, but here I am, 49, doing it. So
well, Dawn, congratulations. Welcome to the group. Megan, I know you have your hand raised, but I am about to pee in my pants. Maybe TMI. So I'm going. Have a great week, ladies. Kick ass. We'll see you inside the Facebook group, and soon we're gonna have an announcement on speakers and stuff like that. But we'll see you next Monday and inside Facebook. Bye,
Bye,
ladies.
ladies.